Hola, welcome to Nourished Sundays. My name is Joanna. I'm a busy mama of two, and I'm also a Salsa Babies licensee. And I also happen to be certified in holistic nutrition from the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition. And I'm very, very passionate about food. Fun thing to be passionate about. This series is all about healthy eating, which can be such a buzzword and also very, very intimidating because nowadays we get so much information about, food and what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. A lot of that information is overwhelming and some of it is very contradicting, and like every day there's something new coming out and that just contradicts what was out yesterday. So in this series, I'm hoping to clarify some things, make things a bit easier for you to incorporate in your day-to-day life, especially if you're experiencing the joy of feeding little ones, which can be very picky. Today's topic, sugar. I know I've been talking about it in other episodes, and it's so big. Sugar. Okay, so sugar actually affects our liver quite a lot and increases the acidity of our body. So when our body is more acid, and a lot of the things we eat acidify it naturally, that makes us more vulnerable to bacteria, viruses, things out there, because it really reduces our immunity. We are naturally wired for sweetness. Think about it. Breast milk is sweet, and that's why they make formula sweet too. Not necessarily with the best things though, but anyhow, that's a different topic. So we are naturally wired for sweetness, but a problem is that the quality of the sweetness we get is actually quite terrible generally in our industrialized world. Many researchers have shown that sugar is as addictive as cocaine, and it also has the same long-term effects on the brain than cocaine does. Think about it. Isn't that scary? Especially when you think about a little brain that is still growing, that is absorbing everything it's getting every day, like the ones of our children. And I mean, I don't want you to freak out, but I want to give you some alternatives today. Little things that can help you in making better choices for yourself and hopefully for your little ones, right? So first of all, what to avoid is processed sugar. It is the worst in all the sugars you can get. I mean, one of the worst, because I'm going to talk about another one. Processed sugar. I mean, first of all, if something is processed, the more processed it is, the least healthy it is, just as a general rule. And that, seems pretty common sense and it's pretty easy to grasp, right? To see why and how. In the process, it loses good stuff and then other stuff are added to make up for it often in processing food. So when you see white sugar and you see sugar cane or beads, like, do they look alike to you? You can see how different that is, right? So how different that white processed sugar is from the sugar cane or the beets, where it's coming from. And there are other sources too, but those are the most common. So you can imagine everything that's been happening to get to that white processed sugar. And it's actually quite interesting when you start looking into the history of sugar to like why the whiteness of it became valued throughout history. That's another topic. I'm not a historian, but if you're interested, that's, pretty interesting stuff out there on the internet to learn more about that and to come to realize why it's become such a big part of our diets. Also, the second worst, I mean, not that I'm ranking them, they're both pretty bad, is artificial sweeteners like aspartame. Okay, so artificial sweeteners like Splenda, aspartame in the Splenda, they affect a lot of our brain, and studies have shown that they may be linked to mental health and mental aging. So it really affects our brain a lot. And that's often what people will take as a healthy alternative to sugar, because there's no calories in there, woohoo! But I just want you to rethink about it. Like, the bad thing about sugar is not the calories. I mean, it's one of the bad things, but everything else it's doing in your brain, everything else is doing in your body. It's feeding off the good stuff we naturally have inside. The yeast, the bacteria, they love sugar to grow. And it's also affecting how your brain function. I mean, to me, that's more of a motivation than the calories, really. But, I mean, that's also a big point, that it's empty calories pretty much, like no nutrient value in there, just filling up. So, I have said enough about the bad things. Now I want to give you some healthy alternatives that still, give you that sweet kick if that's what you crave. And I know, children often want and crave for it, but are really not as bad for you. So first of all, like fruits, I mean, I know it sounds sounds overrated, but fruits are sweet in taste, and yes, they have high sugar content, but it's in a different form. So it's in the whole form. Within the fruit, there's different vitamins, different minerals, different components that balance out themselves. So when you eat a banana, it has a lot of sugar in there, of course, but it has also many other good things. And the sugar, the nature of the sugar in there is not the processed white grains, right? It's very different, and it has a very different effect on your body. So, like, if that's the first thing I would go to if you have a craving for sweets, get a banana or get a mandarin, some like sweet fruit. Also grapes, those are super sweet, and kids love them. Now, another great one is raw unpasteurized honey. And I'm saying raw unpasteurized because a lot of the honey we find on the market is also very processed. And in the meantime, it loses all the amazing things they have in there. So honey is amazing. If you're getting like real raw honey, it has also a lot of antibacterial capacity, power. So it does many great things, and it tastes so good, and it's a very good alternative to sugar. Another one that I use a lot in baking and that I really love the flavor, the consistency, is coconut sugar. So it kind of looks like brown sugar. It has that similar look and that similar texture. So when you cook, it gets, those things. But the flavor is a little bit different, and it comes from the coconut. I mean, of course it's processed because the coconut is not a powder sugar, but it's so much better, and it has a lot of great things in there. So that's a great alternative for baking. And you can also use raw unpasteurized and preferably organic maple syrup. That's also very delicious, and has a lot of great nutrients. Especially for those, it's very important that they are in tinted glass containers, because again, if it's light, the light goes through. If it's transparent, the light goes through and kills off a lot of greatness that are naturally in those products. All right, that's it for today. I talked about sugar and why it's so bad for you, and artificial sweeteners, and also gave you a few options for healthier, natural alternatives. I hope it was helpful. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, eat well and be well. Honey, honey.
Salsa, baby.